you ever discovered that Butterfinger isn't just a candy bar? It's an engineering masterpiece. That light, crispy peanut butter center, it's not baked, not whipped, but created through a high-temperature, high-speed process that almost feels like candy alchemy. Most people have no idea about the amazingly detailed and peculiar manufacturing process of Butterfinger, how the changing of owners from Nestle to Ferrero turned the fortunes and taste altogether. Let's take advantage of our ignorance and get inside the factory to reveal the surprising science behind Butterfinger's one-of-a-kind crunch. If you love learning the secrets behind your favorite snacks, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a bite. The creation of a perfect Butterfinger comes to life with carefully selected ingredients. The foundation starts with corn syrup, which gives the candy its smooth, viscous texture while preventing unwanted crystallization. Molasses will be added to bring a deep caramel-like sweetness to enhance the complexity of flavors. Granulated sugars are very necessary, as they form the backbone of candy structure and give it the hardness it requires for that signature crisp snap when you take a bite. Peanut paste is, of course, the start of the show. It delivers that unmistakable nutty, slightly salty taste. Without it, Butterfinger would just be an oddly crunchy sugar block. Last but not least is baking soda, the unsung hero of the recipe. It creates the airy, flaky texture that sets Butterfinger apart from other candy bars. After all, a precise balance of salt and other flavor enhancers ties everything together to make sure each bite hits the perfect, sweet, and savory note. You have watched in the other episode of Inside the Making how Ferrero is so strict about the quality standards. On top of that, Butterfinger demands their top-notch vigilance, as even a slightest variation has potential to affect the final mixture. Too much moisture in the sugar, and the candy would turn into chewy instead of crisp. A small inconsistency in the peanut paste, and the candy will not form as intended. In Ferrero's world of Butterfinger, precision is everything. Once the ingredients are prepared and measured, the next step is cooking the sugar syrup. It is a delicate and high-stakes process that requires perfect timing and exact temperatures. It's time for corn syrup, molasses, and granulated sugar to face the heat of giant industrial kettles. They will be continuously stirred to prevent scorching. The goal is to reach precisely 300 degrees Fahrenheit, a crucial stage known as the hard crack phase in the candy-making world. At this temperature, the syrup transforms from a thick, sticky liquid into a brittle, glass-like structure after cooling. Workers have to follow this temperature like a religion. Anything below this, and the candy will be disappointingly chewy. Anything above, and you're basically making peanut-flavored glass shards, which are not exactly the satisfying texture Butterfinger fans crave. To keep the syrup smooth and prevent premature crystallization, mechanical stirrers keep it in constant motion. This step is so sensitive that even slight variations in temperature, humidity, or stirring could throw off the entire batch. When we are working with sugar at these temperatures, there's absolutely no room for error. One slight miscalculation, and you will have to do the hard work all over again. This is where Butterfinger pulls off one of the most mind-blowing candy-making tricks in the business. Unlike most chocolate bars that rely on baking, whipping, or extruding their centers, Butterfinger's crispy, peanut buttery layers are created by the courtesy of a unique process called lamination. As soon as the sugar syrup reaches its target temperature, it's combined with peanut paste. However, rather than mixing together smoothly, the candy undergoes an unusual transformation. The hot mixture will be poured onto a temperature-controlled conveyor belt. This will help the mixture to stretch rapidly and be folded by mechanical arms in a technique similar to how bakers create flaky layers in croissants, except here, it is happening at lightning speeds and scorching temperatures. This repeated folding and stretching introduces ultra-thin layers into the candy, trapping tiny pockets of air inside. The result of this is amazing. It creates a structure that's delicate and crispy rather than dense and solid. The magic touch comes from the baking soda, which reacts with heat to release tiny carbon dioxide bubbles. These microscopic air pockets keep the layers from compressing too much and to give Butterfinger enthusiasts a unique, shattering crunch with every bite. When the layers are stretched and folded to perfection, the candy is ready, but it is still in one massive sheet. To set the structure, it must be cooled rapidly before being broken into individual bars. The breaking will happen as the laminated sheets travel down the production line. They will pass through a high-speed cooling tunnel where blasts of chilled air drop the temperature quickly. This rapid cooling is essential to lock in the signature texture of Butterfinger. When the bars have taken the shape from one large sheet, they are ready to go to the next step for the chocolate bath. Butterfinger would just be a crispy, peanut-flavored brittle thing without the rich, chocolatey coating. So, it is the last puzzle to complete the legendary candy bar we know and love. As the bars move along the conveyor belt, they pass under a waterfall of liquid chocolate. The amount of chocolate is carefully calibrated. It needs to be thick enough to add a creamy contrast to the crisp center, but not so heavy that it overwhelms the delicate layers. Beyond taste, these chocolate layers play a vital role in preserving Butterfinger's crunch. They act as a barrier and seal out any moisture to prevent the candy from going stale. If left uncoated, humidity in the air would slowly soften the layers and Butterfinger would lose its iconic snap. When the coating is complete, the bars will enter another cooling tunnel where the chocolate sets into a smooth, glossy shell. Any bars that don't meet visual quality standards, whether they are misshapen, undercoated, or just don't look camera ready, will be removed from the line and it will go back to start the process again. Once the chocolate is solidified, the bars are finally ready to meet the world. High-speed robotic systems will now wrap each Butterfinger in foil-lined plastic, which will seal the freshness and prevent the candy from absorbing moisture. After that, they will be sorted, boxed, and prepared for shipment to retailers across the globe. At peak production, Butterfinger factories churn out millions of bars per day to meet the demands of kids who are running to shops to buy their favorite snack. Butterfinger didn't just happen by accident. It was carefully crafted to stand out in the crowded candy market of the 1920s. The story began in 1923 by the Curtis Candy Company, an up-and-coming confectionery brand looking to create something unique. Instead of using traditional nougat or caramel like other candy bars, they developed a crispy peanut buttery filling opposite to anything on the market. Curtis held a public contest to name this new delight, and the people voted for the Butterfinger, a popular slang term for someone clumsy. Curtis didn't just rely on the name to make waves. In a brilliant marketing stunt, they dropped thousands of Butterfinger bars from airplanes over cities across America. The strategy worked, and Butterfinger became an instant sensation. Over the decades, it grew into a cultural icon, thanks to Bart Simpson's legendary endorsement in the 1990s with the unforgettable slogan, "Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger." The ownership of everyone's favorite delight changed multiple times. Nestle acquired Butterfinger in 1990 to expand its reach worldwide. However, in 2009, they tweaked the recipe to remove artificial ingredients, and some fans claimed that the texture and flavor weren't quite the same. They couldn't recover from these rumors, and in 2018, Italian chocolate giant Ferrero purchased Butterfinger for a whopping $2.8 billion and immediately revamped the recipe. They began roasting their own peanuts for a fresher flavor, refined the chocolate coating, and removed the synthetic preservatives. Some purists debated the changes, but Ferrero's sales rose to new heights, and according to stats, they have to make 10 million bars in a single day to cope with the market demands. Butterfinger's journey from a quirky 1920s experiment to a modern classic is testament that ideas are the most powerful thing in this world, and they stand against every test of time. Whether you grew up with Nestle's version or have embraced Ferrero's upgrade, one thing remains true: its crispy crunch is always irresistible. If you love learning the fascinating stories behind your favorite snacks, join our community of curious minds by subscribing to the channel so you never miss another delicious deep dive. Let us know in the comments about your favorite version of Butterfinger. Is it the Nestle's Classic or Ferrero's revamped recipe? Welcome to the sweet world of chocolates, where the journey from bean to bar is a fascinating tale of transformation that goes hand in hand with tradition and technology. Let's go behind the scenes to see how the epic taste comes inside the bar of chocolate. From the lush cacao trees to the flight on the other end of the globe, the cacao beans undergo a blend of heavy machinery and the precise artistry of chocolatiers. Grab a snack and discover the secrets of the chocolate industry you never saw before. Spoiler, it takes a lot of work to produce one bar of your favorite delight. Before we get straight into cacao farms, the history of chocolates is really enchanting. It goes back more than 3,000 years, right in the era of the Maya, Toltec, and Aztec people. The Olmecs first discovered that cacao beans are edible. Ever since humans tasted this bite of the heavens, they were adamant that this delicious thing was the food of the gods. So, Mayans used to bury the dignitaries with bowls of chocolate. With the progress of civilization, cacao beans took the shape of a mildly bitter drink, which was served cold. At that time, people considered it an aphrodisiac, a stimulant, and a useful medicine. In 1502, Columbus realized the great potential of cacao beans on a native canoe in Nicaragua, and in 1528, Hernando Cortés brought the cacao into the Spanish court from the Aztec people. Spain kept the recipe of the chocolate a secret in order to gain a trade advantage over the European nations. However, Spanish people could never have a stronghold over cocoa production because of a simple fact. The cacao trees are very sensitive to temperature fluctuations, and at that time, grown only in temperate rainforests of Latin America. The delicate nature of cacao trees is still resisting giant industries of the West to cultivate it in the farms of Europe and America. So, the journey of this sweet, creamy snack starts from the rainforests of South America and regions of Africa. The trees grow best in the shade with temperatures around 25 to 30 degrees, and suffocating humidity levels of 80%. Each Theobroma cacao, or simply cacao tree, bears fruits or pods which are about 5 to 12 inches long. Each pod contains 30 to 50 seeds inside, which are known as cacao beans. Don't confuse these raw fruits with cocoa beans. When the raw cacao is fermented, dried, and roasted, it transforms into the precursors of industry known as cocoa beans. As soon as the cacao pods are ripe, they'll be harvested by the native farmers in South America or Africa. The farmers will then remove the seeds after opening the pods. Each seed is about the size of an olive, and they grow in the column of 5 around a white pulp of pith. If we go back to 3,000 years to Latin America, this pith was known as baba and used to make fermented cacao wine. The farmers clean the beans with their hands and leave the white baba around them to develop the flavor. After this, the beans will be exposed to the light to remove moisture. And this light will also turn the white yellowing beans into purple color. If you are still thinking these beans do not look chocolate, don't worry. The next step will set the tone of the procedure. When they're dry, the beans are ready for fermentation. Africans and Latin Americans do it differently. Africans love the heap method, in which the beans are heaped in piles on the ground. The South Americans prefer the method of cascading boxes, in which beans will be transferred. In both methods, banana trees are used to cover the beans to protect them from heat for the next 2 to 9 days. When the due time is over, the beans start to take the color and flavor you know as chocolate. However, don't hurry to expect they are ready. The farmers will patiently dry them up for the next 7 to 14 days on bamboo mats and wooden boards under hot tropical sun. Farmers take great care of beans during this stage because they are soon to get the prize for their hard work from the buyers of the international market. Beans are raked and turned over consistently to remove any moisture from them. Once dried, the beans will be sacked and bundled in front of the quality assurance team of the industry. After the approval of these guys, the beans will be shipped out of the continent to complete the rest of the journey on giant machines of the industry. Though cacao beans can be harvested after a short time, the farmers harvest them only twice a year, so that they can earn good by selling these lovingly raised crops. When the beans are received in the industry, they will immediately be categorized by desired characteristics. They will either blend with other origins and estates or be kept as single origin chocolate. After this necessary scrutiny, the beans will go through the delicate process of winnowing. During winnowing, the beans will get cleaned again and roasted at room temperature. The shells of the beans will be removed from the nibs, also known as meat of the bean. The industry workers will finely ground nibs into the cocoa mass, aka cocoa liquor. This liquor is solid at room temperature and standard pressure, but under high crucifying pressure, this paste yields two products, cocoa powder and cocoa butter. This cocoa mass forms the foundation of chocolate in the industry. Chocolatiers add cocoa butter and other ingredients to the cocoa liquor to produce different kinds of chocolate according to the need and the company's signature requirements. Dark chocolates are simplest. They need the addition of cocoa butter and sugar in the foundational cocoa liquor. Milk chocolate is different from dark chocolate. Apart from all other ingredients of dark chocolate, milk powder is also added to milk chocolate. However, the foundational cocoa mass is absent in white chocolate, and it contains only cocoa butter, sugar, and milk powder. White chocolate and its increasing market demand are the reasons why cocoa mass is put under high pressure to yield cocoa butter and cocoa powder. Because it does not contain cocoa mass, some people do not consider white chocolate as true chocolate. However, it certainly is an effective snack for people having stomach issues with cocoa liquor. The next step is finessing and giving the final touches to the raw chocolate we have just made. The different kinds of chocolates will see the bottom of a large conch now. A conch is a giant agitator that stirs the mixture under heat. It will provide necessary aeration to the liquids and contribute to the consistency of the mixture. This process is known as conching, and it is very important to remove all the remaining moisture and unnecessary acids formed during the fermentation. Conching ensures the production of delicious, consistent, and out-of-the-world gourmet chocolate. At this point, the final aroma and flavors are defined. Soy lecithin or cocoa butter may be added if the mixture has not acquired the benchmark smoothness and fluidity. When the chocolatiers are satisfied with these final maneuvers, they give the green signal for molding and tempering. Now the taste of the chocolate is finalized, but it still needs to be molded into preferred shapes to hit the market. This requires gradual tempering of the mixture. During the tempering, industrials give enough heat to the mixture so that cocoa butter takes its most stable form. After well tempering, the chocolate gets its snap, smoothness, and shining surface. Proper tempering is responsible for preventing blooms on chocolate. Blooms are the whitish layers present on the bars when you open the wrapper. Blooming means an imbalance of sugar of fat crystals in the chocolate mixture. The production of chocolate is now officially finished in an industry. But of course, it will not remain in this shape for long. Bakers, chocolatiers, and home chefs around the world will apply this delicious food in various applications to enhance the taste of food and to make everyone happy. That's the most beautiful thing about chocolate. It started with the hard work of farmers out in Africa, processed under the heavy designs on which humanity is proud, and ended at the tip of your tongue with a smile on your face. And with this smile, our journey in the exploration of a chocolate factory also ends. Comment down below if you got to know the secret of your favorite cocoa flavor. Don't leave without a thumbs up and your support to us in the form of a subscription. Let's get connected and tell us what food you are eager to explore next on Inside the Making.